Everyone is Addicted is a judgment-free space for real conversations about addiction. It's a show about breaking the stigma and building empathy. Everyone is Addicted, Mondays at 11 p.m.
What's going on, everybody? This is the host of Recover Out Loud podcast, Sean Young. Before we dive in, I want to be clear. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not here to diagnose or treat. I'm simply a catalyst, someone who's walked through the fire and now speaks from experience, reflection, and a deep desire to help others find their way forward. This podcast may include honest conversations about addiction, mental health challenges, and suicidal thoughts or ideations. These are real parts of the human experience, and we won't shy away from them. If you're listening, please do so with self-care and self-awareness. And if you're struggling, please reach out. There's help out there. And most importantly, there's hope. Viewer discretion is advised. Now let's get it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Recover Out Loud, episode 124. Today, we got a really awesome guest. We got Jamie Eichenberger. How you doing, Jamie? So I call you Jamie. It says it up here, Jeremy. Sorry. It says it right up here in my thing. I'm tired. I had a long night last night. I'm sorry.
You're good. I answer to a lot of names, man. So
hey, it started with the J.
Close enough. I also answer to hey you and don't touch that. So
yes. I'm used to hey you with the face or hey you with the beard.
yeah, that works.
Jesus. Anyways, Jeremy Eichenberger, not Jamie. I don't know why I fucking said Jamie. Anyways, it happens. Anyways, Jeremy, would you like to give us a formal introduction of yourself?
Yep, like you said, Jeremy Eichenberger. In recovery myself, 6 years. In the first year, I really got things figured out and decided to write a book so I could help others. And now I use that and my platforms to inspire people to share their message, share their stories, and not be afraid to talk about it. So
Absolutely. And if you're watching this now, it's going to be much later in the future. But if you're watching it now, you're going to go back and you'll be able to see Jeremy's episode of The Boneyard. It's going to come out, or it came out during Halloween time, and he's going to or did share his experience and some weird and odd things. But one of the things that really kind of like drew me to you, not just because of what you shared with that, was everybody that I invite on the show or shows interest, I scroll through their social media, not for anything crazy, just to find out if I have something in common. And you are from Wasilla, Alaska.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And that
Greatest
was
little town nobody's ever heard of.
Yeah. That was about an hour away from where I was stationed at in Alaska. And so when I seen that, I was like, oh, we definitely got to get Alaska boy up in here.
Yeah, it's a strange little town, man. Had a lot of adventures up there. Kind of miss it some days, but being down here in Florida, it opens up some new adventures, and I'm not complaining. I just learned how to trim a palm tree the other day. Never did that before. So
That's awesome. Awesome.
I used a chainsaw. It seemed like a logical tool.
Yeah. So the first time I ever heard of Wasilla was probably right before I moved to Alaska. I think everybody that doesn't live out of state kind of does the same thing and watches Alaska State Troopers. And I definitely saw that name and I was like, oh, it's cool to, come visit a place that I've seen on TV. But the crazy thing is, man, is like those state troopers are vicious up there.
Oh yeah. Those guys are nobody to play with, man. Like there's a few of them that I went to.
Yeah.
I was way too close to the mic, I think.
It's all good. You're good.
A few of them I went to high school with that became troopers, man. And it's nothing like seeing somebody you used to play kickball with becoming like an elite force of the police department, you know, because they are really our only police department. I mean, we have like Wasilla Police, you know, but it's like Wasilla city limits. They don't really venture out into the scary parts. So those boys, though, they put in work, man. I met some really cool cats with the Alaska State Troopers. Some bad interactions with them too, but you know, for the most part, good ones.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I think it's pretty wild that they don't just serve as your state troopers, right? They're also wildlife, they're fish and game. They're all of those offices that would normally have a full-fledged like force behind them, and they serve all of those. And it's wild.
Yeah, no, those boys are busy, man. Especially the guys that service the villages out there, because we're talking hundreds of miles in between villages and super remote. And I've had the privilege of going to some of those native villages, and I'll tell you, pictures don't do it justice. Like the old school natives from those villages, the real, like the elders that believe in the traditions, cool people. But then there's like this underbelly that's infecting these outer communities, and it's crime, it's drugs, it's alcohol, you know, and then the troopers are there to assist. I mean, they have VPSOs, which is basically a village police officer, but you know, he's by himself.
Yeah.
In nowhere. So
yeah, definitely. One of the things I didn't realize was how predominant drugs and alcohol were in the village until I got sober and started hearing some of the stories and like hearing you know, that some of the younger villagers were getting kicked out of their tribes because of drugs and alcohol, and how it, like, you know, like you said, it affected those villages. And I ended up going to work for Everett's Air Cargo, and I just seen the amount of alcohol that was being pushed out that way, and I'm like, shit, man, like,
oh yeah,
it's bad.
The smugglers, man, they make a premium off of that, and it's sad because it is a market. It is an illegal market, right? So if there's a markup for it, if it's profitable, people are going to do it regardless of the punishment. And you know, we can talk self-control and saying no, you know, and making better choices, but you know, a lot of those, they're so isolated out there that, you know, and a lot of the kids will watch television, and on television we make it look cool to get out, you know, get drunk and do stupid things. And obviously most kids emulate what they see, whether good or bad, doesn't really matter. So it makes it really hard to convince somebody that is so isolated and wants to be a part of the world as a whole. Just to tell them no, like, oh no, it's bad for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I find it funny that when I tell a lot of people that I've been stationed in Alaska, they look at me and like, oh my God, you must have like suffered up there. I'm like, no, not really. And then you fill them in that like we had everything. We had Walmart, we had Target, we had everything that everybody has down here. I mean,
I get some crazy questions, and I now give crazy answers because I just assume that's what you want to hear. Like, you know, can you see Russia from your house? Yeah, 100%. Do you have polar bears and live in it? Yep. Sure, why not? Like, and that's not to take away. I've literally seen real polar bears.
Yeah,
those are really far up there. They're like above the Arctic Circle. That's what people don't understand. Yeah. And the penguin conversation. Do you have penguins? No. Like, why is that a question?
Yeah. I see a lot of people on social media that freak out when they hear that, you know, Russian spy planes were seen above Alaska, you know, Alaskan air. And I'm like, that shit happens all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nothing normal.
That's another Tuesday.
Yeah. I mean, it's just another Tuesday. Yeah. Pete, I think there's a lot of people that just don't understand the way of life there and to the way it is here. I mean, because if we saw Chinese planes or even Russian planes over on this side of the states, like it would be a cause for concern. But over there, it's like, oh shit, Just
Well, I mean, that's a dedicated trip to go all the way to the East Coast from China, right?
Yeah.
Like there's clear
Yeah.
reasoning for it.
Yep.
I mean, that's a vast body of water. But if you look at Alaska and Russia, I mean, we share a border in the middle of the water.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, there's islands out there that you can literally go to and see Russia on a clear day. Like you can see Russia.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard a story, and I might be wrong. Before we jump into your story, I heard a story some time ago that when the Bering Strait froze over, like real bad froze over, that there was a Siberian tiger spotting in Alaska.
I have not heard that story. However, it wouldn't surprise me, man, because I mean, the original natives actually came from nomad Mongols. And a lot of people don't know that, right? So they actually came over as nomads. They didn't, you know, they never really lived anywhere. We're talking hundreds of years ago.
Yep.
That's originally how they came across as the ice pack. So, I mean, that's how a lot of those tribes even got started.
Yeah.
Now, I might be incorrect on some of the like historical events. And mind you, I'm not a historical scholar as far as, you know, Alaskan Native factoids. I try, but I might be a little wrong on that. So don't crucify me.
There's no crucifixion happening here, brother man. But anyways, so we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna dive into your story. Jeremy, when was the first time that you remember using drugs or alcohol?
Man, I did it like anybody else, man. I was 13, 14, really. And it wasn't really like a thing, but it was a thing, right? Like my buddies would sneak out, you know, we'd boost some from his parents or their parents' cabinets, you know, and it was just always kind of one of those knew we weren't supposed to do it kind of things. So we did it anyway.
Yeah, definitely. I can understand that. So how did your drinking progress when after that first drink? Was it almost like, hey, I tried it, I didn't like it, and then I'm gonna wait till I'm older, or was it like, fuck, I'm hooked?
It kind of went in waves, man. It really depended on who I hung out with, because like I can remember being a teenager and like going over to friends' houses, and they'd have like a 6-pack or 12-pack or whatever, and it wasn't really a thing. You know what I mean? It got progressively more frequent in like senior year when I played in a band called Idle Minds, and we drank a lot. You know, that was kind of the scene. But I don't think it ever, in my opinion, it wasn't out of control at that point.
Yeah.
It and I do talk about it in the book. There's kind of an awakening where it started to register, oh shoot, this might be a problem.
Yeah.
But I ignored it, you know, like everybody else.
Yeah. So you're in this band and you're kind of living the sex, drugs, rock and roll lifestyle.
Pretty much.
Yeah. When did it start to become a problem?
You know, people started to get worried about me when my kid was born. I mean, there was times before that I had gotten myself into some sticky situations, and like my mom would, you know, mention it, and obviously, you know, but it didn't really, when my kid got born, because I was more isolated, right? Like now I had this responsibility, whether I was prepared or not, it was a new responsibility, which kind of made me stay at home. And I think the boredom really, because, you know, when you have a baby and you don't know how to raise a baby, like you're kind of bored.
Yeah.
Like at least I was. I don't know. That probably sounds horrible, but like I was bored.
Yeah.
Like it was exciting, but I was like, I didn't have friends that had kids.
Yeah.
You know, so I just kind of isolated, and I think that's where it started getting pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, boredom can lead to some really bad things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what do you do on a Friday and Saturday night when you have a 6-month-old? You know, like,
Yeah, no
you're
shit.
not taking them to the bar, you know. Like,
Yeah, definitely, I can understand. So, at the peak of your drinking, how bad did it get for you? Was it like affecting your health at all?
Yeah, it was getting to that point. So, and I say it that way because it wasn't just drinking. Like where it became really problematic is after I broke my back, and I was 25 when I broke my back. So already drinking pretty heavily, but then I broke my back, and then the doctors are just kind of like, here's some drugs, don't get in trouble.
Yeah.
And I had never been seriously injured that required like long-term treatment or medication or anything. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Like, I had watched Intervention, but like I didn't really make the correlation between Vicodin and anxiety meds that are given to you by a doctor versus, booting heroin in a gas station bathroom.
Yeah.
So they were polar opposites, at least the way I looked at it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's most times too, because we look at doctors and we're like, they're just looking out for our best interest. But sometimes our best interest is behind big pharma, that's addictive medication.
Yeah. And I mean, at that time, man, I was in so much pain that I didn't even put much thought into it, to be honest.
Yeah. So go ahead.
No, I was turning down my mic because it keeps feeding back.
Okay. Yeah, I can't hear it on this end, but yeah, man, I can definitely understand that. I've heard a lot of people share their stories, and they said, they never really touched alcohol, they never really touched drugs until they got hooked on prescription medication, and it just took right off. Is that kind of like what happened with you?
Yeah, pretty much, man. Because and I talk about it in the book, because like I went from like what I felt like a position that I had kind of earned. Like I had friends, I had hundreds of friends, and I say friends, but I use that term loosely because it was more of acquaintances. And you really find out like who's in your corner when you have nothing to offer. And I think that after I got hurt, it was that crushing realization that like all of these buddies and all of these like people that I was cool with really didn't give a shit about me, because I wasn't covering bar tabs. I wasn't doing something ridiculous. I wasn't doing this or and that just kind of fueled like the depression, I guess. And that's where things really went sideways.
Absolutely. So what happened when they went sideways?
Man, I just isolated even worse, man. And I would just drink and eat handfuls of pills all day and just sleep. Like I couldn't do anything. Like I had no work, I had no money, like everything was going wrong. And I just kept spiraling out of control, and like my mom tried to step in a few times, which was not a good idea because I was not friendly. I was not easy to deal with, admittedly. I don't think any addict really is. And I think a lot of parents really have a hard time understanding that, because you're not negotiating with your kid. You're not negotiating with your baby anymore. You're negotiating with a drug addict. And that is different.
Yeah. Because we scheme, we plot, we tell them it's, this is the last time, with the real understanding that this isn't the last time it's going to fucking happen again.
Oh yeah. I'd definitely lie to your face to get what I wanted.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. To get you to shut the fuck up, I tell you, hey, I won't drink again.
Yeah. Whatever you want to hear,
Yeah, absolutely. So how far deep did it take you to the point where you're like, I need some help because this isn't the way I want to live anymore?
The crazy part is like right after injury, like I freaked out and I moved out to the lower 48, and I thought, this is the answer, right? I sold all my shit. This is going to be a new start over. Yeah, still broken back. Yeah, still not technically allowed to work. But I had flushed all of the painkillers, and I thought that's the answer, right? Like I'll just flush all my drugs down the toilet and I'll be perfectly fine. And then I flew to Chicago and detoxed off of opiates on an airplane. And it was the worst experience of my life. And that kicked off a whole 9 to 11 month adventure where all hell broke loose in my life, because I didn't realize until then, like really how effed I really was, which then forced me to move back home. But there was like a series of events that got wildly worse and worse and out of control. Like my drinking in Detroit with my buddy Dan, I mean, his house got raided because him and his old lady got into an argument about their drugs. And, it was this, okay, well, you need to leave because, they just crashed the front door. Like, where do you go? And I got my kid with me. Like, he's like 1.5, and I'm like, so I bail out of there and I go south to Indiana, and then eventually to my sister's house, where I started putting my life back together. I started trying to keep a low profile. Drinking was still bad. Wasn't doing painkillers because I didn't. But my ignorance for how addiction actually works kept getting me into more and more shit. Like, I ended up getting stabbed and left for dead.
Wow.
Because like I didn't take it serious. Like I was like, no, it's not me. You know what I mean? Like, it's never gonna happen to you.
Yeah.
Or famously quoted, what's the worst that can happen? And then like the worst possible scenario would happen, and I'm like, well, damn.
Could have been worse. Yeah. I've fed myself the same shit. Like, wake up the next morning, you're like, damn, everything is gone and I have nothing left. Oh, it could have been worse.
Yeah, right. Like, I always tried to find like the silver lining in the bullshit clouds.
Yeah.
And I was just lying to myself. Obviously, I'm in deep shit. I'm in way over my head. Yeah. And I started like the possibility of quitting. Like, I remember going like 7 days, and I'm like championing myself, like, oh dude, you made it 7 days, man. And then like day 10 would hit, and I would just start pounding beers. I'm like, nope, can't do it. Don't want to do this. Uncomfortable. And it's like, it was just crazy because it just got so out of hand so fast. And then it was like, well, how do you get a handle on this? We're talking 2009. I broke my back in 2008. My life's a complete dumpster fire, and I'm just like, the only thing that makes me happy is getting drunk or high. Like, that was the only thing that was keeping me from killing myself. And then I would get drunk or high and then want to kill myself for being drunk and high. So it was like, damn, how do you get through this?
You can't win.
No. And then everybody in their words of wisdom, like, oh, well, you should just quit. You think?
Yeah. You don't think I've
Sure. Never. The thought never crossed my mind. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. So what was that nexus where you said, okay, I'm done? Like, this is the last fucking time I'm trying to get sober again.
Man, that was the thing, is like, it never, like, so in 2009, 2010, that would have put me at like 26, 27. I didn't actually quit all the way until 37. So there's 10 more years of bullshit and lying and trying to white knuckle a sobriety kick. And I would track it on calendars. Like, I was almost tempting fate. You know what I mean? Like, I could put down the opiates, and I'm like, oh, cool. I can just quit painkillers anytime. I'm in control. And then I'd get all cocky, and then all hell would break loose. And then I'd down a bottle of, what is that? Codeine cough syrup, or, like.
That's just rough.
Yeah. Like, whatever it was to get out of my head, because I didn't have the tools on board to realize that, like, everything that I was doing was to get away from, like, inside of my own head. Like, I was just self-medicating, really. And I had heard people use that term before, and I was like, that sounds stupid. Like, that's dumb. Like, shut up, hippie. Like, what do you know?
Yeah, I get it.
I'm not one of you, like, and the true arrogance of my addiction was like for that whole 10 years, because it was just constantly looking down my nose at everybody that had more of a problem and just pointing fingers like, oh, well, that guy right there smokes crack and he sold his mom's DVD player, so I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Like, as horrible as that is, that was how I justified it. And it's crazy to look back on it now, and I'm like, God, you are a douche.
Yeah. I can definitely understand that. I can understand that. So you had 10 additional years of chaos and madness and all the stuff that goes with it. What happened that was kind of the roadblock for you that said, I'm done with this shit?
Man, so I was working out in West Texas. I'd got back in the oil and gas business and had been doing well, and like I said, my arrogance prevented me from even listening. So I was making good money, so I didn't really give a shit, right? Which has its own side effects. But I was out in West Texas and I had pretty much burned every bridge. I'd pissed everybody off. So I'm kind of on my own. And I got a call from my doctor in Indiana, and she was like, yeah, hey, we need you to come in. We want to talk to you about, something from your last visit. And I'm like, well, hey, look, lady, I'm out here in West Texas. I'm on a 6-week run, making $1,100 a day. Like, money's more important to me. Like, why don't you just give me the nitty gritty? Tell me what's going on. She's like, well, I can't really talk to you about it over the phone because, but, rada rules, right? Yeah. I'm like, look, there's no way I'm coming all the way back to Indiana. It's not happening. Like, I'm too busy. Like, just, if it's important, I'll come home. So she kind of told me, man, and she's like, it's an anomaly and it doesn't look good. I'm like, what do you mean it doesn't look good? Like, is it a quarter? Is it a spaceship? Like, what do we should, and she kind of danced around it. And then eventually she's like, yeah, it could be cancer.
Shit.
Yeah. So for me, I'm thinking, well, shit, how dare this lady just tell me that I'm dying? My brain instantly went to worst case scenario, right? Like, shame on her for telling me I'm dying now. How dare she like ruin my day here, And I asked her to do it, which was the more ignorant part of that, right? But like for me, that she just gave me a death sentence. So I was just like, well, here it is. Fuck it. Like it didn't surprise me, right? Like, I smoked cigarettes, I did asbestos, like I wasn't surprised. I lived like a carny, like me dying from lung cancer, not shocked, So, I mean, that made it worse. I was actually fairly successful making good money, and I thought, how dare God now kill me? Like, what a dick, like, really, man?
Fuck
So
that.
I went off the rails, man. And I just progressively got worse for 2 weeks. And I remember the night, man, I'm sitting there just booze hounding it up, and I had pissed everybody off. I had made all kinds of crazy phone calls, and like, I was just sitting there fuming, stewing in my own hatred and shame and all that. And I kept seeing this video on my phone, and it's this guy, Mark Jennison. He runs a company called I'm a Comeback. Mm-hmm. And he looks like your average gym bro. You know what I mean? Like, he's got the muscles, he's got the tan, he's got the jawline, the sunglasses, the cool house. And I'm like, I'm watching this video, and I watched it the first time. I'm like, nah, whatever. And I watch it again and again and again. And like by like the 9th or 10th time I watched it, I was like, how dare this guy? Like, how dare he sell programs to desperate people for this exorbitant amount? I didn't even know what it cost, right? But the most insulting thing I took from his whole thing, I didn't get anything positive from it because I was an asshole, is that he put his phone number at the end of the video, and I'm like, I'm going to tell this guy exactly what I think, because I am so tired of these alpha dog guys, these snake oil salesmen selling treatments to desperate people. I knew nothing about this guy, absolutely nothing. So for me to make that judgment was ridiculous. Number one. Number two, like, why invest that much hatred and time into telling a stranger that you dislike him? Like, it was so stupid, but it made sense. So I call him, man. I rehearsed this whole thing of like how I was going to read him the riot act and how he should be ashamed of himself. And it ring, and he picks up that, and it was the same voice from the video that picked up. And like everything that I had rehearsed, all this hatred, all this anger, like, just, I couldn't even remember what the hell I had talked myself up to do. Like, just stopped. I was like, oh shit, now I'm horribly embarrassed.
Yeah.
You know, and just out of the awkward silence, he's like, you all right, bro? And I'm like, nah, man, nah. And he's like, well, you want to talk about it? And from that moment on, for 3 hours and some change, this dude, this stranger that I completely planned on insulting, just let me talk. No interruptions, just, few perspectives, few this, few that, right? Like kind of sussing out what the real problem was. But that was the first time in my life that I felt like somebody actually saw me as a person. And that's taking away from everybody else. But that was the first time it clicked that I was a real person and I was really in some shit, man. And it was like the surreal moment that I had never felt ever in my life. And it was that one moment. And I was like, you know what? This guy's right. I can do this.
Yeah.
So I started.
So how did it look for you at the start? Did you jump into 12-step programs? Did you go to an inpatient program? Just white knuckled it?
Just white knuckled it, man. Because, and I talk about this in the book, like at that point in my life, I was so toxic and hateful that if I was allowed to be in a program, I would have deliberately derailed it just to prove that I was right.
Yeah, I get it.
Like, and I would have fucked it up for anybody else that allowed it, just because that was the person you were dealing with. Like, was it rational? No. Is it polite? No. Like, is it something a normal person should do? No.
Yeah.
But I would have done it. I would have done it to prove everybody that their programs are stupid. So I knew that going in, and I knew that because I know who I am, or I knew who I was, right? I knew that like that negative aspect would ruin it for somebody else, and I didn't want to run that risk. So I would rather white knuckle it.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is not medical advice. Like, it sucks. It sucks the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's very lonely and isolating, but it worked. It clicked this time for me. I don't know, but I don't recommend it.
No, I've definitely done the same thing. And it's not worth it. Like you said, it's a lonely place. It's very hard to get around people. When did your attitude start to change? Because clearly the person that you are today is different than the person that you are describing that you were.
Man, in those first couple of months, like my goal originally was 45 days. If I could make it 46 days, like that was a win, right? So I really didn't plan the future out for 6 months or anything like that. And then I started hitting these benchmarks, man. And I started realizing that, you know what, my life was better without it. As corny as that sounded, and as much as I didn't want to admit it, like my life actually was easier and more genuine. And like, I was starting to feel things again that I hadn't felt in forever, which was nice and terrifying and like, overwhelming.
Yeah.
So it was weird. And like, as each one of these like months went by, or, what like key moments, I was just like, wow, I'm starting to actually enjoy being this person. Like, can I make this a real thing? Like, is this who I can be now? Because I was starting to dig it. I was starting to turn back into the kid that I used to be, the kid that people used to say that I was, this funny, sweet kid that was shy and like silly and artistic. But I had hid that guy for forever because he was a dork and he was skinny and he was poor and he was this, and like nobody wanted to hang out with that guy, So it was crazy to see that kid come back, man. I hadn't seen him in a long time.
How did it feel when you actually had that realization, like that I'm back moment?
Terrifying.
What's that?
I didn't know if I could survive in this world as that person.
I understand. Well, so, oh, it's okay, man. It's all right. It's all right. So I don't like to assume, but I would venture to say you tested it out one time and it paid off for you.
Yeah. Man, writing the book, like writing it all down, right, was like this reliving all these things, and like that really helped. And then I realized that, like, okay, you have this kid who went through some shit, made some changes so he could survive or whatever, and then turned into somebody he didn't really dislike but didn't really like at the same time. And then I lived like this life for other people, which then ultimately made me worse and miserable. And I'm not blaming it on other people. This is a perception that I gave to myself. Like, I don't even know if they actually agreed with that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I never asked anybody. I just made assumptions.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just, it was crazy because like I started like recognizing myself again. So it was cool. And like, people that hadn't been championing me on because they wouldn't agree with my lifestyle started to see it. It started to become a thing. And it was a thing that I didn't have to remind people about. I didn't have to shake it out of them. I didn't have to beg them for it or anything. I didn't have to gloat about it. Like, it was people were watching.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
Yeah. And I'm assuming your relationships started to improve, even the ones that you kind of burned that bridge.
They have. My mom and I are still working through things. We still disagree and butt heads about things. I can't unring the bell.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to help other people before they ring the bell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't undo the past, but if I can help somebody else not do it at all, then, at least that's something, and she sees it. My old lady, my wife, is probably my largest supporter other than my brother. These, and they're constantly championing me on, and there's days where I have a hard time even seeing the point, but then they keep doing their job. They keep doing what they've been doing. So it's just crazy, man.
Yeah, absolutely. How's life different for you now?
Man, this life, 6 years, it's insane. It's so crazy, man. I meet people like in the airport and like just total strangers who have got the book or saw a podcast. Like, they want to get, they'll approach me and like they'll give me hugs, and I'm not like a hug person, so it's been awkward. But like, and they'll cry, and I'm like, dude, stop! Like, what are you doing, man? Like, no. And it makes me uncomfortable, but it makes me happy at the same time. So it's like I'm making an impact, and that feels good. It really does.
Yeah.
So
you're helping people out and you don't even realize it.
Yeah. I mean, the original goal was to help one person. If I could save one person, that was good enough.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm saving people. I'm not like walking on water or anything, but like,
you ain't got the S on it.
I'm trying my best. I'm doing what I can with the tools that I have, and at least starting the conversations.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about the book. You've referenced the book a few times. Tell us about the book.
Yeah, so it originally started, the first version was just called An Odyssey of Oddities. And it's just a book about my life, man, and all the things that I did, like a bunch of stories and the lessons I learned by doing things the dumbest humanly way possible, and it wasn't intended to be a comedy, but there are some comical parts to it because I am not a stupid person by any means, but I ended up in some stupid situations. And I don't even know how some days. I just kind of, oops, like, and yeah. So, but I wrote it, to try to show people that, look, man, yeah, like we're all fuck ups, dude. Like I'm not perfect at anything. Like I screw things up today. Like,
Yep.
But I try. I try to meet a level of not perfection, but satisfaction for the day as I try to reach like the next goal, right? Like, but I want to show people that it's all right to screw up because I was told like everybody else that like, oh, those feelings, yeah, swallow that shit. Don't ever talk about that. Oh, if you screw something up, you got to man up and take the punishment, but like there was no other like advice. There was no other anything, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I remember having a conversation with my dad because I wanted to punch out and he's like, you can't do that because then they win. He didn't even explain who they was. Like,
who the fuck is that?
Yeah, my dumb ass is sitting here thinking that there's some ulterior group out here that wants me dead. And I'm like, no, they was this grand thing that like, it just proves everybody right. And like, that didn't even register for forever that's what he was talking about is that like, if I punched out, if I gave up, then they're right about you.
Yeah.
Wow. It's that simple? Really? Damn it.
Wish would have known this earlier. Shit.
Right. Where's the book on this? So I wrote one.
Nice. Yeah, I get it. And you said something that's pretty profound is that, that you still fuck up from time to time. And I mean, I do too, man. And I do podcasting. I do a few other things on the side. But I'm only human, right? And that's the same thing with you. You're only human, and we're prone to making mistakes. And it's about taking accountability of those mistakes and fixing it and learning the lesson from it. And so I'm glad that you've learned the lesson and that you're continuing multiple times. Yeah, man. So before we shut down the show, I always like to ask my guests this one question, and it is, what are 3 things you are grateful for today?
Matt, I'm grateful to be sober, man. I really am. Number one, because without it, I would have nothing else. It brought me to a level that allowed me to be grateful for so many other things, because now I have people that actually want me in their life, that actually see my value. And I'm grateful for that, and I mean, like, it's not even a monetary thing. Like, I feel the presence, that they appreciate my presence, and that in itself, I'm grateful for. And I'm grateful to be alive, dude. Honestly, it finally makes sense. It doesn't matter what part of the country I'm in. Like, I just take a few moments to just find something, and don't get me wrong. I go ahead. I have ups and downs, man. I have down days like anybody else, man. And some days it's a real bastard to find a reason.
Yeah.
But I find it.
Yeah.
And, I'm grateful for that too, man. I've seen some amazing things in my travels. So,
absolutely. One of those, and we're going to touch on it real quick before we shut. But one of those things is you have haunted items.
Yes, my affinity to collect weird things. Yeah. I've turned a strange hobby into now a hobby. It's kind of like a Where's Waldo of the creepiest things I can find. Yeah. I got handcuffs from Alcatraz and leg irons from Alcatraz, a lock from Alcatraz, Peruvian death mask, a couple of other ones from the Himalayas. One is the one that I was trying to share the video. I found it at a flea market in Jacksonville, Florida. There's a giant flea market right there at the edge of Jacksonville from Georgia. and there's some weird shit there. And that was the start of the weird mask thing. So now every town that I go to, I intentionally go looking for them, and then I look up the history of them because now I'm fascinated.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't find any information on the first mask. Everybody said, well, it was either used for possession or to unpossess somebody. So yeah, and then everybody heavily recommends I get rid of it. So it's just sitting over here on the back shelf. Like it hasn't done anything recently. So at least that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
So it either gave up or I don't know. But some strange occurrences because of it. But yeah, I have an affinity to collect strange things just because. I appreciate the craftsmanship that has gone into these things. That's what I find fascinating the most, is that with primitive tools, they were still able to make art.
Yeah.
That's the fascinating part.
Yeah, definitely. And Jeremy's episode of The Boneyard is going to be posted in October. So scroll back, go look. We're actually recording this before we record that one. So scroll back and you guys will be able to see it. It's in the Halloween season, in the spirit of Halloween. So not the store.
Yeah.
But anyway,
we don't want that fake stuff.
We don't like that fake shit here.
No.
But anyways, I want to take a moment. I'll say thank you, Jeremy, for being here, and thank you for sharing your story. I found it very inspiring. I myself am a recovering alcoholic, and I can definitely relate to a lot of what you said. So I am grateful for you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And everybody, I want to take a moment and say thank you for joining us. Thank you for sitting here and hanging out with us for this time and this space. Until next time, be kind to yourself, be gracious to yourself, and love yourself. You are loved, you are worthy, and you are worth it. Have a nice day.